My name is Natalie Perez, and I have an interview with one of the members of the band, Novice. I'm going to missay it. Novisa on February 25th, 2014. Please tell us about the history of your band and its members.
Okay, cool. So, actually, when I joined Nervosa, it was only a project of my guitar player and our former drummer. She wanted to look for girls to gather up a thrash metal band, and I, meanwhile, had just been kicked out from my previous band, so I was also looking for bands to gather up a thrash metal band. So after our quests were almost over, because it's really hard to find committed girls or professional musicians who play extreme metal, so it was really hard. So when our quest was almost over, then we met each other. Prika got in touch with me. Prika, our guitar player, she got in touch with me, and we met at a pub. We had some drinks together, and then we noticed that we had the same ideals and objectives, and that we wanted the same thing, and also that we got along really well, because when you are in an all-female metal band, it's really hard to deal with other women. Women are not always easy to deal with, so we noticed that we got along really well, and we had the same plans and ideas, so I joined the band, and then from there on, I consider the band as an active band and a professional band with more concrete plans and focus and everything.
All right. Where does your band's name come from? And then, excuse me, does it have a meaning to it, or what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there is. Nervosa. Usually American people say Nervosa, but here in Brazil we say Nervosa. Nervosa is the word angry, is the adjective angry, but for females, it's a female adjective. If you say angry for man, for example, a man is angry, is nervoso. A female is nervosa.
I get
so it. Nervosa means like an angry woman, something like that. An angry girl, something like that. And actually Prika named the band, and I loved it because it's a Portuguese name, so it's a little homage to our country and our language, and it's easy to be remembered, and people can associate this with nervos in English and nervosa in Spanish, so it's easy to... It's an easy name to be remembered, and it's in Portuguese, just like Sepultura. It's a Portuguese name, just one name, easy to be remembered. That's our focus. And also because we play like angry thrash metal, and Nervosa is angry in Portuguese.
There you go. What's the music scene like in Brazil, and are there any bands out there that you could recommend we should check out?
Sure. Actually, the metal scene in Brazil is very wide, it's very large, and it's really strong. It's large and wide because it's a country, it's a continental country, so wherever you go here, you will find a local scene, you will find headbangers, and wherever you go, you will find cool bands from many genres in metal, so I could list you 100 ones which I love, but I'll be with my favorite ones, which would be Torture Squad, Claustrophobia, NX, and these are all old bands like Corzus, also Ratos de Porão, and we have new bands like Lacerated and Carbonized, Jack Devil. All of these bands are thrash metal bands, and thrash and death metal bands. And also we have many all-female bands here in Brazil, and some female-fronted bands that I really would like to share with you guys, because it's worth the listen. Valhalla, it's an old death metal, all-female death metal band. Sinaya and Vocifera, which are all-female thrash metal bands. We have Necromesis and Cauterization, which are female-fronted bands. So you have like many quality bands here in Brazil. I'm happy you give me this opportunity of sharing these bands with everyone who's watching us.
No problem. Why did you want to return to the Mr. Sohm Studios where you recorded your first EP to record the new album?
Well, they are the metal masters of recording here in Brazil. You know, everybody knows them. They are from the band that I said before, call it Corsos. So they are in metal for over 30 years, and they have this studio for many years, and they really know how to do it. And when we recorded the EP, we like it so much because they did exactly what we wanted. So when it was time to find someone to record our new album, I guess they were the first option because firstly because we had previously worked with them, you know. So it was, we know what we could expect. We knew the quality we could expect from them, and also because we really like their job. They are very good in what they do, so it was the first option that came into mind, and we are really happy with the result, the final result of Victim of Yourself. It was a group work for us to reach exactly what we wanted.
How does it feel to have written, recorded, and I know it's not out yet, but release your debut album?
It feels so great because it's like a dream come true. You know, I always say that. Sometimes people say, oh, you're just too much of a passionate headbanger, but I'm not. The thing is that here in Brazil, it's very hard to be a headbanger. It's really hard for you to have a metal band because you're not supported by anyone from the government. You don't get any support from the government, from the mass media, from the great media. And there's a lot of prejudice, so it's really hard to be a headbanger here. So when you are a teenage headbanger in your room with all your friends, like headbanging to your favorite bands, you will never imagine you would have a band and that one day you would be signed with the major labels like Napalm, and then you will release your first album not only in your homeland but also in other countries and other continents. This is really a dream come true. It's something I would never expect to happen so soon and in such a beautiful way as the way it's being. So we were really focused when writing and recording it because we wanted the best. We wanted to take the best out of it, out of this opportunity we're having.
Great. You worked with two of the guys of the band Kovrus. I think I'm saying their name right. Why did you want them to help you guys out with the album?
Well, the Corsos band, you mean? Corsos. Yeah, they are actually the owners of the studio, the Corsos guys.
Okay.
They own the studio. So that's why it is really cool to record with them because they own a studio and they know how to do that because they've been in a band for over 30 years in a row. So they were really helpful for us. For example, the guitar player, Eros Trench, he was the who mixed and mastered the things, and he has a very good ear for things. He has a good taste for things. You really know how to do that. And the singer of Corsos was who recorded us. He recorded us and he produced me a lot on vocals, giving me a lot of tips and a lot of, a lot of cool things that I could absorb to improve my vocal lines and vocal melodies. He taught me how to do new things to my voice, to improve my technique. And because everything of this, because he's been like 30 years on the road, so he knows everything about singing thrash metal. So that's why we actually chose this studio, because that are the Corsos guys. They own the studio.
Great. What was the recording process like this time around, and was there anything different that happened, or was it the same old thing like the last time?
No, it was completely different. First, because we had a lineup change, and second, because on the first EP, all of the songs were already written by our guitar player Prika. And when I joined the band, I gave a lot of new ideas. I gave ideas to change many things on the songs. I created the lyrics, I created the vocal melody. So I had a participation, but it was not my composition. There were only some touches of me there. But in this new album, it was completely written 50-50 by me and Brika, because she came with a lot of ideas, I came with a lot of ideas. So I guess the result of this album is a lot more mature than the EP, because me and her are the main writers of the songs, so everything is pretty well divided. So I think this album really represents what Nervosa sounds like right now, you know, because there are my influences and ideas and her influences and ideas. So the recording process was different because of these, because the songs were different, and because it was longer, and we had a lot of problems during it. The studio needed to stop the recording sessions for a while because they were having some problems. My guitar player Prika, she had a tendon inflammation, so she needed to put a cast in her arm in the middle of the recording, so we needed to stop for a while again. So it was pretty different, a lot more not confusing but difficult than the first time by many reasons, but it was more of an enriching experience because it was completely different. It was our debut album, and a lot of songs and a lot of different and more technical songs, so everything was completely different from the other one.
As you say, it is completely different, so what can we expect and what is the message behind it?
Well, as I told, people can expect a more mature album because the first songs were really raw. And we like, of course, this rawness, this aggressiveness on the songs, and they are still present in our new album, but it's more mature because we have evolved as not only as musicians but as people also. So there's a whole lot of new thinking on the album and way of playing, and so everything it's the same, but in the same way it's different, a little bit different. It's more mature, it's more what Nervosa sounds like nowadays. And the message behind it is we always like to write about human aspects and human behavior and its consequences. That's why the album is called Victim of Yourself, because most of the lyrics talk about things that human beings do, and then everything he does will turn back to him, will come back to him. So if you do good things will come your way. If you do bad things will come your way. You'll have problems. So in the end of the day, every human being is a victim of themselves, you know. So that's the message behind the lyrics. We always write about more realistic things. We like to write about human aspects and stuff.
What's your take on the album as the whole thing? What would you say about it?
What would I say about the album as a whole thing?
Yeah.
Well, it's difficult to say, but as I said, I guess it's a more mature album, and I really like it. I have no words to tell about it except for good words. Well, but you will find the same as usual, but with a little more of technique. You will find like catchy choruses and catchy riffs and aggressiveness and some new beats that weren't on our first EP. For example, blast beats on the drums, and a little more of a faster thrash. And I scream a lot in this album. Of course I did before, but this album, because I was really well produced, I scream a lot. And so this is what you guys can expect. This is what I have to say about the album as a general.
Could you describe your songwriting process? What comes first, the music or the lyrics?
Well, it's To me, it's always the music comes first. Me and Prika are always having ideas, and we are recording things by ourselves in our homes separately. And when the time for composing, for writing new songs has come, we just put our ideas together. She comes with a riff, and I improve that, and then I come with another riff to add to that one, and then the music starts growing up. And then when the music is born, I can feel the vibe of the song. If it's more aggressive, if it's happy, if it's, I can feel the vibe in the song, and then I write lyrics about that. I usually have lots of ideas of lyrics in my mind, and then according to the song, according to what the song demands, I write about a specific thing. But usually it's music first, and then lyrics in a second plan.
How did the idea for the song and video for Death come about?
Well, this song talks about people being killed and executed around the world, and we question in the song if it's right, is it fair? There's even a part in the song that we say, is it right, is it fair, is it wrong, what is justice? Because we don't really know. We see like, for example, those Oriental countries or Arabic countries, people like being executed with shots or with rocks, women being dying because people throw rocks on them. So people hung nowadays, like in the 21st century. So we just question, is it right? Is it fair? Is it gonna be useful? Is it gonna be a role model? We just question that. We don't criticize. It's just a debate, about death around the world, about death penalties. When we chose this song to be our first single, because it has a lot of elements you will find in Nervosa. For example, thrash metal beat and crossover beat and blast beats and catchy riffs, catchy choruses, a song people can sing along. So these are the main elements in all Nervosa's songs. So that's why we chose it, because it really represents what we are. And when it came time to think of a video clip for it, we just thought that we should try to show people the last minutes of life of a person who is going to be executed, who is going to receive his death penalty. So that's why we thought of a guy being tortured before being shot, as we know it happens in many countries around the world nowadays. So the idea was to shock, but also to question and debate, like, well, watch this. Do you think this is fair? Do you think this is right? Do you think this is wrong? So just think about it. We just wanted to make people, and also we cited that in a cemetery because it has everything to do with death, right? Nothing more death than a cemetery, and because it has everything to do with our cover also, which is to schools and cemeteries. So we thought it would be really appropriate. But the main focus on the video was to show us playing, and then to have this background story, just to raise this debate for people to debate with themselves or with their friends about this topic, which is pretty current. It can be far from our reality, but it's current in other countries, right?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite song on the album?
Oh, God, I hate when people do these questions because it's really difficult. It's like picking your favorite song among all your children, It's something that I imagine it would be really hard. But I guess if I had to choose favorite ones, they would be, let me see, just one, I really can't. But if I could choose two songs, it would be Victim of Yourself, because it carries the whole meaning behind the album, and also because there is a lot of elements other pick because I think they musically represent what Nervosa sounds like. They have all our elements, like I said before. A catchy riff, you can sing a catchy riff, a catchy chorus, you can sing along, and blast beats, thrash metal beats. So they really represent, they have all the elements we usually use in our songs. So I would pick both of these. And also because the lyrics represent a lot to me. Victim of Yourself speaks of a moment I was passing through where some people were trying to blame me for things that they did, and so they are victim of themselves. So I just wanted to write about that. About people who have bad attitudes and don't want to take responsibilities for the consequences, you know? So this represents a lot to me, and I think it's a true lyric. There's a lot of meaning. And also justice be done because I get really sensitive with the cause of child abuse. I try to do my best to help these, confronting and ending this terrible thing. So I wrote about that in a moment that I was really outraged about some things I saw on the internet and some facts that are out there. So there's something that really touches me inside. So it's very important lyrics to me. I've never suffered child abuse. Sometimes people think that, if she writes about that and if she cares about that, maybe she suffered. No, I didn't. But I just care for people that didn't, because it can affect a whole person's life, you know. So that's why I would pick both of these songs. They represent what Nervosa sounds like, and they have really meaningful lyrics.
Okay. What do you guys have planned for this year?
Well, we have many plans because it's our first album, so we want to promote it the best way we can. So we plan, like, we are a road band. We really like being on the road. So, but we never left Brazil. We have toured a lot here. We visited 17 from the 27 Brazilian states. So we toured a lot here last year, and was really busy for us. But we never left Brazil. So our main focus this year is like playing overseas. Like we're planning a South American tour, Brazilian tour. We're planning an European tour. We have a deal with the booking agency, the Flaming Arts, so something is going to happen. And hopefully we'll try to work something out in the America, because it's a little bit harder to tour there, but we'll do our best. And I hope to meet you there if we ever get to play.
Yeah, definitely. We got to hang out. And is there anything else you would like to say or want to add?
Well, I just would like to keep supporting metal the way you do with your show, and the way I do with my band, and the way all headbangers do, doing their part for metal, because we are very responsible to keep the metal flame burning. I know it sounds like a Manowar song, but it's actually what I really feel. I feel we just need to keep supporting metal, because we keep the metal flame alive, and we keep the metal legacy perpetuating through the decades, you know. So even if you don't like bands, support them, because each band has its history and its hard work.